You're right, Kev. You sound down.
You tired?
I'm not 100%, but I will power through. All right, let's go. Facebook. Hi. How is everybody?
Hello.
Let's look at our pretty faces in church. There you go. Hi, everybody. It is episode 116 of Gather the Nerds. I'm Cab, that's Nick.
What's up, guys?
Church is back.
Hey, guys.
Are you a church or alien church? Are you Jose Canseco?
No, I'm a scarred church after what happened.
Very scarred.
Sorry. I forgot to mute it. Hold on.
Hannah's also here.
I thought that was them.
Hi.
It was the aliens.
No,
Usually-
the aliens were my friends. They were trying to protect me from Jose.
From Jose Canseco.
That was a
Nice.
scary thing.
All right, we are here to talk about nerd stuff, but to start with, we want to talk about, I don't know what we want to call it, Hannah has a story.
So,
And his mom gate.
Hannah's mom gate.
so my mom's Facebook got hacked. Beginning of this week, maybe last weekend, and she couldn't get it back, of course, because they changed their changed her password, and they turned on two-factor authentication and like all of this stuff, changed the email, so she couldn't get it back. And I tried to go like find on Facebook how to report it or anything, but then they want her to send in like pictures of her driver's license and like all of this stuff, and I was like, Mom, I don't want Facebook to have this information.
You're assuming they don't have it already.
Right? And I was like, will they do anything with it? Probably not, but if they ever get hacked, I just don't want it.
They have gotten hacked.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, so maybe not. So she goes and makes herself a new account.
Okay.
But then they have to send her all the confirmation codes, and she has to prove who she is, of course. By the way, if I had to sign up for Facebook now, I don't think I would. It is way more difficult now, and I understand why.
Yeah.
But a million years ago when I did it, it was so much easier.
You're like, you need an email address
Yeah,
and a
exactly.
password.
And it had to be an EDU email address.
Yeah, in the very beginning.
But
That's when I got it.
so
Oh, you're old school.
then they live out in the middle of nowhere,
Thanks to
so they
Jenny.
have very poor cell phone reception, so that she can't get the texts for the confirmation. So she keeps trying to get them to send it to her, and then it sends too many, and then it disables the new account. And she can't get back in, and it's disabled, so I can't go in. So I have to make her another new account.
Oh, no.
And I have to make her a new email address and everything so it can be sent to there. And then I have to forward that email address to her actual email address so she doesn't have to remember any other new passwords or anything like that. And then I set up the two-factor authentication from my phone number.
Smart. Until she starts logging into Facebook and you start getting texts.
Yeah. Like every 5 seconds it was like, give me the code. I need a new code. What's this code? And I'm like, Mom, why do you have to have so many codes? I can log in just fine from your account from any device. Like, are you not saving the devices? And she's like, I don't know. It just says I need this code.
What's funny about that is, like, our generation, we're the last generation that straddles the
Yeah.
non-technical, technical. Speaking of moms, my mom's on. Hi, Mom. The non-technical and technical world. Generations after us are never going to know a world
Right?
like, but hopefully for people like them, it's going to be like, oh, two-factor has always been a thing,
Right.
or whatever. Like, when the internet first started, I mean, it was the wild, wild west.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything was stored.
I mean, that's a fair... Yeah,
everything was
that's
stored in
Absolutely.
plain text and all of these
Yeah.
things.
Everything was in Comic Sans, and it was
Yes.
terrible.
Comic Sans is awesome.
No,
You shut your mouth.
I know. I will fight you over
Wingdings.
this.
Wingdings.
It's not Calibre 11, that's in all the spreadsheets.
I
But
don't
Yeah.
want Calibre, but I don't want Comic Sans.
Comic
but-
Sans, come on.
Yeah.
It's an
But-
elementary school's, go-to.
If
No.
if you haven't seen it, I think we posted this. If you haven't seen the official Captain Marvel website from
Yes.
Marvel,
It looks like an angel.
it's
fire.
straight from Angel Fire, GeoCities. Like, it is straight out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
pretty cool.
amazing, and there's a lot of Comic Sans in it.
Because Comic Sans is awesome.
That's true.
But-
Come on.
So that's why I don't want to try to come off as I understand her frustration,
Yeah.
but from being a million miles away, I was like, Mom, I don't know. And then I had this thought, because I was like, do I basically control her Facebook now? Like, is she going to have to come to me for everything? And I was like, is this what parenting is like? And I was like, I don't think I can do this.
Now
That's
you're in
stupid.
Sam's shoes.
So
This is too much pressure
yeah,
for me.
that's what
And
parenting's
so,
like.
then I was like, okay, Mom, you have to tell me when you come down off your mountain. I live in the mountains. So I can switch the phone number so that you can go to yours and you'll have reception and you can fix all this. So I do all of that.
So does the reception suck, but is her Wi-Fi good?
No, her Wi-Fi is terrible
Oh,
too.
I was going to think like Google Voice it, if Facebook even allows you to use Google Voice
She-
I don't
numbers.
know.
I asked her once, I said, why don't you guys just go up to the next tier, get faster? And she's like, they don't have it. And then we've asked them about it, and they will never have it. It's like speed is like 0.1, and I do not think that's an exaggeration.
Wow.
She's
That
like,
is
yeah, they won't.
fantastic.
They already told us they're never going to give it to us out here. I was like,
I mean, it used to be
Oh,
back in the day, like the distance you were from a telephone company's central office dictated your speed. Like,
because everybody was on the same line.
well, it's
And I
all,
mean, they still are,
and
but-
it has to do with copper distance and stuff
Right,
like that
right.
too.
Lost
And
per
then
foot.
Cox Cable came out, and it's like, oh, everybody can get 100 meg or 50 meg or whatever it was when it started, but then everybody's on the same line, so it sucks.
Yeah.
Because it oversaturated. Now everything's fiber.
Well, and
things are much
AT&T
better.
had fiber optics for years before most people had
Yeah.
internet through fiber optics.
Yeah.
Because I mean, my whole family is retired AT&T, Southwestern
Yeah.
Bell, and so they had a whole wall when you walked into the building downtown. It's all fiber.
Yeah.
It's the
All
craziest
enterprise
thing
carrier
ever.
grade,
Yeah.
the long haul stuff.
Yeah.
It's
And I mean, who knows at that point what it was actually connected to, and it really
Yeah.
didn't matter. But yeah, the old copper line that my grandfather used to have when internet got into his neighborhood or DSL got
Yeah.
into his neighborhood was so fast because it was like 2 blocks from the box.
yeah. It's,
And ours was like so slow because we were like 15 miles from it.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
But-
just interesting.
so this was like days. This did not happen. This was like a week's worth of
Wow.
fighting this, and then being like, I can't make her another account. And then I have to
I've
post,
used all the free email options.
I had to post on her old account being like, unfollow this. She will request. Then my aunt, her sister, was like, is she going to send me a friend request, or do I need to send her a friend request? And I'm like, well,
Because you
wait.
never got access back to the old account.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
I was like, you can wait, or you can just go do it. And she's like, I don't know how to send a friend request. I was like, I can't. I'm dealing with one person. You just need to wait.
Wow.
So, but long story short, she does have her Facebook back now.
Good deal.
Hannah's mom gate. There we go.
That is crazy though. Yeah, when I got on Facebook, it literally you had to have a
EDU.
school email.
Mhm.
It
That's
was
how
still
stu-
whenever it was only for private schools, and so then they opened it up to having a school email because Joni had it because she went to a private school, and so yeah. Anyway, there you go.
All right.
I got it for Farmville.
Nice.
You got a what?
For
Got
farm.
it for Farmville.
For Farmville.
All right. We rest to Marvel, DC, some Star Wars, some really random news. I hope no one's been to the Grand Canyon in the last 18 years. Gaming.
Is it not really a grand
In
canyon? Is it
exploding
just a
shoes.
canyon?
It's uranium.
That's uranium. Church, where would you like to
Grand
start?
Canyon.
You want to go start at Grand
Yeah.
Canyon?
Yeah.
This story blows my mind. So, apparently what has happened is in some part of the tourist whatever of the Grand Canyon, there's like these buildings and stuff that you can go into.
The tourist.
Like I guess it's a touristy thing, right? Somebody had a Geiger counter with them or whatever, and they start going towards this thing, and it starts going off. And they've updated the story a lot because the guy who reported this, apparently there's a lot of like things going on with him, like on aside from this story. But apparently allegedly there's been a bucket of uranium sitting there for 18 years.
Where? Just in
Yeah.
this one little spot?
Yeah, in a
like
bucket,
one of the
yeah.
closets, like a supply closet.
Yeah,
Why?
No one knows.
yeah.
I mean, the mines there, they were uranium,
Mhm.
but those are all shut down. And
Yeah, and that's where they disposed of it, was they went to the old uranium mine or whatever and tossed it in. Like that's what
Like
they
you do.
did. Like you do.
I mean,
So-
I guess. I don't, seems
like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
seems a little lackluster on that one, but
All I know is that
I have friends that have been there and camped.
Yeah, I've been there like
Yeah, it was
in this, and now I'm really worried that I'm actually going to turn into the Hulk.
Well, it'd be She-Hulk.
I'm fine.
So, I mean, that's a plus.
Yeah.
Hey, at least she's a really good attorney.
She's a very good attorney. But, like, I've been saying it for years, you know, I Hulk out, blah, 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 and I'm like, oh, crap. This is going to really happen.
When did you go?
When did we go? This one, like 7 years ago. About.
Yep. So you're in the
Yeah,
window.
you're definitely there. Definitely there. First mutant ever, right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That
we
we know
had
of.
to stop at every single, like, little...
If you had gone, so it's the museum.
Museum,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a museum between 2000
You've been there, huh?
and 2018. You were exposed to uranium by
was.
OSHA's definition.
From the year 2000?
Uh-huh.
So does that mean that they
It
like...
was there for 18 years.
But my issue is, surely it was there before that,
It was in a basement,
and somebody moved.
and then somebody moved it into the museum.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
So basically, in March of 2018, the teenage son of a Park Service employee had a Geiger counter that detected radiation in the collection room. The buckets plural had been in the basement for decades before being moved to the museum.
So my question is, why is he carrying a Geiger counter with him to
He
begin
was
with?
just, like...
He was the son of a Park Service employee. You never know when you want to, like...
Geigery things. I think that's what he said, was he was, like, some sort of enthusiast or hobbyist or something.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't...
To find nuclear stuff,
Yes,
nuclear
yeah.
material. All right.
I
Yeah.
don't think they were looking for it.
I'm not judging. I just don't. I'm not putting it all together because like that's something I don't think the average person or average
Carries
backpacker
around.
would carry
That's
around.
why it didn't get found for 18 years.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's that's terrifying.
Yeah, so they said Stevenson had calculated that the radiation levels are calculated to be 1,400 times the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's safe level for children.
So
Now, luckily, it's a museum, so you're in and you're out. So, like, long-term exposure is probably minimal, but for, like, employees, though, that's a little bit different, I would think.
yeah, I would think so too.
So when we went, I just...
We haven't
got
had
my
enough
iPhone.
shutdowns for that.
And I remember this because we were at, I don't know if it was this one, but it was one of the little buildings. And I left my iPhone in the bathroom, and I did not realize it until we'd gone, like, all the way up this mountain. And I was like, guys. I remember being so worried, and we found it. So,
Well, because nobody wanted to touch that nuclear waste. That was why.
right? So I had to go in there twice.
You've been exposed twice.
Yep.
That is crazy, though. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah, they say it's unlikely because of what it is, things like that. It's unlikely to cause major issues for people. But the main concern would be if like Hannah went over there and licked it.
Yeah.
Like if you ingest it, it's way worse for you than if you're just hanging around it.
A sticker over the bucket and it said like free ice cream or something.
But if you
Would've
went
bad
to the
for
Grand
me.
Canyon several years back and have noticed that since then you're a mutant, now you know why.
Now you know why, and you should come on the podcast. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Depending on what your powers are.
That's true.
If you can just make your fingernails grow a little bit faster.
Nah, we're good with that. It would be thrilling. We'll put on time lapse cam.
So, when they, and this is my ignorance, when they pull it out of a mine, is it already like poisonous at that point?
I assume that uranium is radioactive.
Because it's a heavy metal.
Yeah.
But then how do they, I don't necessarily want to get into this, but then they weaponize it in some manner to make a nuclear weapon.
Turn it into ooze.
They break it into chunks and they wear
So there's
gloves.
Ninja Turtles floating
Yeah.
around is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
They throw it.
They throw it.
Okay.
You
I'm
see
sure
the bad
it's
guys,
it's the
It's like they hit each other in the eye with the rock and it's good. Okay.
I'm sure it's the explosion causes a chemical reaction, that type of thing.
It's just interesting to me that it occurs naturally, but it's also highly nuclear
dangerous
and
when
toxic and heavy metal.
and somebody figured out that put two and two together and you can make a huge boom. Like
Yeah.
Manhattan Project,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know how.
Someone ask
It's just
Oppenheimer.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. That's all.
Speaking of crazy, you can now get emojis on your license plates in Australia. I will say, I am more than a little disappointed that the smiling pile of poop emoji is not one of the ones that is available.
I'm thrilled.
Is the eggplant one?
No
And the
eggplant,
peach.
no eggplant or peach. So in Australia, there apparently you can now do the You have 5 options to choose from. You've got the crying laughing emoji, the sunglasses emoji, winking emoji, smiling emoji, and the heart eyes emoji. Josh, that's your cue if you're watching. The heart eyes emoji. So, but apparently they do a lot of different, they have a lot of personalizations that you can do out there. Even more so than you have here. Apparently, one of the to get one of these special emoji plates, it's about $475 in Australian dollars, which is about $340 American dollars.
I really like those emojis.
Yeah, you must really like the hard eyes. Like, I could see Josh doing that.
I would need the awkward one. He was like, ew.
But here's a very valid question in this article. How do you write down the emoji in your number plate after an accident?
Right?
Like, I got hit by X754 smiley face. Like, was it the winking smiley face or was it the non-winking smiley face?
Because those are going to be separate people.
Exactly.
Someone's going to definitely have the other one.
Yeah.
Well, if you can submit it through online, then you could just use your key.
That's true. Yeah. This person hit me. So yeah, it is. It's. They said the emojis are purely decorative and don't form part of the registration, so you still have to have a unique registration.
Can't be like ABC, poop emoji, D.
Yeah. Exactly. They basically said, talking the Queensland Law Society president Bill Potts said, clearly the government's trying to sex up number plates with a view of making more money, and I can understand that. So,
Well, I mean, Oklahoma does that, not with emojis, obviously, but you
not
have
yet.
Yeah, but you go into the tag agency and there's like tons of options. I'm like, I've never even seen half of these
I
plates.
still don't like our current one, our new
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, and that's the other thing that gets me is like the ones the vanity plates. They don't meet the criteria of the new plate that we just had to rebuy.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how that works. I guess it's the background color.
Dang it.
Must be different. I do like the 46th. Is it 46th, 48th? Whatever the star one is, it's white and it's got a red star and our state number on it.
Oh, is it?
It just looks cool.
I think that the bird one, which I'm assuming is a scissor tail,
It is a sister.
Yeah.
it always makes me think of the Hunger Games. And that makes me
You think it's a
nervous.
Mockingjay?
Yeah. I like that. Out of just like the first time I was like, wait, what are they trying to say? Are they trying to warn us? And I was like, wait, no, that's our bird.
No, they already do the Hunger Games in, where was
Is
that?
that Russia?
Russia.
Yeah, we should.
No, Siberia.
We should
Siberia.
follow up on that story to see.
I haven't seen anything about it. So
Yeah, I haven't
either
either.
it was a colossal flop or, everybody's dead.
I would hope it'd be a flop.
I don't know. They said basically the Hunger Game rules apply, but so do Siberian law.
How does that happen? Is it okay to kill people under Siberian law?
No,
Well, there's that
no,
weird.
Well, they're
but
a little lax.
Yeah, I mean, but there's also that.
strange place in Yellowstone.
happens?
Yeah, the
Siberia.
Yellowstone, the lawless zone in the Yellowstone, where you can go kill somebody and.
Because no
I was
state
in
has
Yellowstone too.
no state has jurisdiction in that triangle or
Yeah.
that area.
Seriously,
or
how
whatever.
big is that area?
I don't know.
Because
I don't plan on going there to find out.
I wonder if it's
Drifted
on
into it.
like the border because Yellowstone takes up multiple
I
states.
might have seen Jose kill him.
Yeah, but it's but the thing is it's
said
like
it
one of those
was
spots
88.
where it connects, but it's like I want to say it's a triangle. Let me look.
Yeah.
Because I think they do. I know. It's
Gonna
at
go.
least
Where
two.
did Hannah kill a man?
Well, and that was
50 square miles.
that was
50 square miles of lawless territory.
It's called Zone of Death.
Death.
actually named. That was the same trip,
Actual
guys,
name.
that I went to the Grand Canyon. So
Okay. I'm now.
it could have made me angry.
That's true. That's what could have happened. All right. So let's get into the Marvel news because everyone's been talking about this. Shocking absolutely nobody. Jessica Jones, Punisher, canceled.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't shocked.
You know who it did shock? Marshall Mathers.
I say Eminem, yeah. He tweeted at Netflix. Basically, I don't remember what he said, but it was.
You're blowing it.
Was it you're blowing it? Yeah.
Well, he's been too busy getting back on his game, battling Machine Gun Kelly and a bunch of other people.
So yeah, Marvel's confirmed that there would be no more Punisher after this, and that this upcoming season of Jessica Jones will be the last season of Jessica Jones. So there's been a lot of internet reaction to this. Everyone saw it coming, but also too, Jeff Loeb, who ran those shows, some of his comments and things like that have been very
A
interesting.
little weird. Not what I would have expected.
Yeah, not
Kind of changes the way I thought about what was maybe happening.
Yeah, it was the, what did he say exactly? He said, this is Jeff Loeb, who runs that part. He says, our network partner may have decided they no longer want to continue telling the tales of these great characters.
That right there.
But you know Marvel better than that. As Matthew Murdock's dad once said, the Measure Man is not how is not how he gets knocked down to the mat, but how he gets back up, to be continued. He's also said a few other things. He said, quote, in Netflix situations, that was a situation where the network made a decision and we had nothing to say about it.
I wouldn't have guessed that for anything.
To me, I still feel like the missing piece is, because there's another comment in a different article, and he talks about the cost of
The shows.
There had to have been a scale based on seasons for, obviously, actors get scale, the longer they are, typically season 1 they get paid this, 2, 3, 4, whatever. But to me it sounds like he was that it was a cost, and Netflix knew that they would, after the first seasons they dip and they didn't want to incur the cost anymore. But I think there's a 2-year they can't do anything with it TV wise. And then after that, I fully anticipate it shows up on the Disney streaming service or on Hulu, because it'll be dark. Would not surprise me in the slightest, because Hulu is where the new animated stuff is going.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
So MODOK, Howard the Duck, the Tiger and Dazzler show, and Hit Monkey are all going to Hulu.
See, I didn't realize it
We're
was going to
getting
be
a
animated.
Dazzler show.
I guess I missed that
Dazzler and
last.
Tiger.
Dazzler and Tiger, yeah.
Guess I missed that.
They
last
are all
week.
dark
I like her.
animated.
You like Dazzler? So do
Yeah.
I.
Okay.
She's awesome.
I wasn't sure if your oh god was a bad thing.
So
Okay. I was about to get really defensive.
I like Dazzler.
Don't
like
say the word-
Deadpool likes Dazzler.
yeah, don't say the word pockets.
I have not gotten to listen to that yet, so pockets.
That you can listen to it for the first 27 minutes of last week's
Was
episode.
it really 27 minutes?
And then the whole part, she's just doing this the whole time.
Give me a 30-second
angry.
summary.
Men are stupid and they don't want us to have pockets. That's very generalized.
It was like 3 seconds. All
That's very
That
harsh.
was
I
all
don't
it
think you
was.
feel that strongly about it if you couldn't fill 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not going to be baited.
All right.
Pockets and jeans are overrated.
There's pockets in anything. We don't get pockets in skirts. We don't get pockets
Yeah, you
in...
do.
Well, now we do,
Oh.
but it's not very common. That's why whenever
Okay.
a lady wears a skirt and you're like, that's a nice skirt,
What are
our
those?
immediate thing, this is a guy's jacket, is, look, it has pockets.
There's your solution.
Just
not
wear
a
guys'
guy.
clothes.
I just tried to drag this out.
Oh. Yeah. So
You have one giant pocket, like right back here. It's like a pouch.
and if you turn it around, you can put popcorn in it. It's good.
I told the kid that, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, trust me.
You just
Mine.
like their,
I know.
their entire world.
I know. Well, he had it on
Look at
backwards
things
anyway, so
differently.
that's why.
Some,
So you trying to keep food in there? No.
something you shouldn't trust is the Rotten Tomatoes reviews on Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
The
you know
Russians
what?
are at it again
Why though?
because they got nothing better to do. I don't know. There's Josh Kerr with the heart eyes. Man, I set you up, Josh. I gave you a perfect chance for an intro, and you missed it.
Boo this man. Boo.
So back to Captain Marvel is being review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes. It is now sitting at a 52% audience rating, 18 points below 2008, The Incredible Hulk. It is the lowest rated Marvel movie on Rotten Tomatoes. 2 weeks before it comes out.
But you know what though? I think if you're in a place where you're going to look at Rotten Tomatoes and take it seriously at this point, after what we've kind of uncovered as an internet group, then that's on you. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate because this is a good opportunity for a lot of young ladies to have a very strong character to kind of look up to and that kind of a thing. But also, at the same rate, it's a new character that nobody's ever seen other than in a comic book. So, I don't know. I'm excited about it, and I mean, it's got Samuel L. Jackson in it, and he's younger. Like, come on.
It's true.
Gotta roll with it.
And apparently the cat's name is Goose.
Yes. Did you see
Yeah,
they did
I
a
did
live
not, but
stream
that's awesome.
of Goose?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that is
Does
not.
Goose die though, like in Top Gun?
I hope not.
I
Me
don't
too,
know.
because that would be really hard to watch a cat hit a canopy in a jet. That would be sad.
I mean, it's an alien cat, so I feel like maybe it has super strength. So.
So
you won't
does
have to.
despite wow, despite the bad reviews sitting on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it is pre-sales are off the charts big for
what I'm
this.
saying,
They're
yeah.
saying it passes Aquaman and Wonder Woman in ticket pre-sales.
Wow.
They are tracking a $100 to $120 million opening weekend.
Not bad.
That is massive.
Yeah, not bad at all.
So Wonder Woman opened to 103, and I mean that movie opened big. But I also
is
think
that just U.S. or is that
that's
like,
U.S.
Okay.
I think. But Wonder Woman opened big, but I think Wonder Woman had nobody expected what Wonder Woman was, and so it had legs. Like its second weekend, like there was hardly any major fall. I mean, there was fall off, but not a major fall off. So.
Yeah.
There's been bigger hype for Marvel, for Captain Marvel too.
Yeah, there has been. I
Well,
mean,
and I think Wonder Woman set that expectation too.
Of course it did. How could it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. How could it not?
Wonder Woman made Marvel go, guys,
yeah.
they got us on something.
Well, and the fact that it was, like, it was a superhero that was different. It wasn't Superman. It wasn't Batman. It wasn't Wolverine or X-Men. It was just different. I don't know. I'm all for it at this point. We've been saturated with the same general characters in maybe different actors playing those characters, but the same characters, same general story for so long that it's time to start bringing these other big names in. I mean, Captain Marvel's not a small name. Wonder Woman was not a small person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just exciting.
I think if you put up a picture of Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, I say it's a 50-50 shot if somebody can identify Captain Marvel. Not now, but like
Before that, I
before.
would say lower than 50.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Marvel fans, or are you talking about just your average?
I think the 50% is the Marvel fans.
The
Okay.
average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I still have to explain why she's a girl. Like they're like, oh, it's supposed to be a boy, and I'm like, no, sweetie, that mantle changes. There's been multiple Captain Marvels.
Yeah. So there's
But the term captain also, though, doesn't indicate gender.
Mm-mm.
I mean, and that's confusing for a lot of people, I think.
So they have Josh is somebody said Josh says Captain Who? Josh, you're fired.
Doctor Who.
Yeah. So right now they are saying right now Captain Marvel is only behind Infinity War and Black Panther in terms of pre-sales on Fandango. So.
Not bad.
So basically, no one believes that.
Oh yeah,
They're
nobody.
like, yeah,
cares.
no. Yeah.
Of course, we had the tickets. 3 months ago?
Mhm.
Like, that's the. Now we're just waiting on the Avengers, and the Avenger one's next. Speaking.
Sorry,
Go
I'm going
ahead.
to interrupt you real quick.
Yep.
You said who, and it made me think of something that Joni and I watched and Harper watched this morning. Is because I watch YouTube while we're all kind of waking up and watch all different things. For whatever reason, either because I watch a car group that goes to Japan often, and they show that stuff in Japan or something, but YouTube thought that I needed to see Japanese band called HU. I don't know how you say it. I think it's Who, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm like, okay, fine. I've looked at the same thumbnail for 2 months. I'm just going to watch it and see what's going on. So I click it. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden it hits me. This is Japanese heavy metal. I don't know how I feel about this, but I kind of like it. It was
It's
like I
big
understood
thing.
nothing they were saying because it was all in Japanese. But like the melody of it was absolutely amazing. It was really pretty cool. And like anything in a music video, it's about theatrics. And so their theatrics are very practical and very, I don't know, it was pretty cool. So look them up. I don't know what they're called, but HU is their name. So
I feel like that's how a horror movie could start.
it very
Where
well
you're
could be.
You're watching videos on YouTube, and one thumbnail just keeps popping up, and you're like, and finally after 2 months, you're like, all right, let's click it.
I mean, I might have started The Ring. I don't know, but
You might
it
have.
is what it is.
So another major female character out of Marvel is going to be Black Widow. We know that
Super excited.
there's a Black Widow spinoff movie coming, and the internet said it was going to be rated R. Kevin Feige says it was never going to be rated R. Do we think this is a misstep? should Black Widow be rated R, given the history, assuming it's some sort of origin-ish story?
If it's an origin, yes. If maybe they just do some, like, flashbacks, maybe, they could probably make it not R.
Like PG-13.
Yeah.
I think if you make it an R, you run the risk of burning a lot of younger fans who have seen Black Widow not be R-rated
Since she is
for so
connected
long.
with
You know what I mean?
Avengers.
That's true.
And so maybe that's the rationale behind it, is that you don't want to destroy your fan base to have an R rating. It's not like Deadpool, where we knew Deadpool was going to come out and it was going to be an R rating, or whatever.
So right now, they have hired Ned Benson to rewrite the script, and it is rumored to be set.
Your garage door alert came on, and Shanna wants to make sure she's not being murdered.
Shanna, you're not being murdered.
We hope.
So, oh yeah, my garage interior door probably
Yeah.
opened. Yeah, okay. Shanna's downstairs. So, Ned Benson's rewriting the Black Widow script. Right now, it is set to be a prequel before S.H.I.E.L.D., before Avengers. So you could, and the thing is, you can get away with a lot more in PG-13 now than you could, not long ago.
I think the important question is, will there be Hawkeye in it?
I'm certain there will be.
I would
Hawkeye.
be shocked if there isn't.
That's really all I care about.
Shannon says her new pants don't have pockets.
They don't.
Something else that Kevin Feige came out and said is that they will, in fact, use James Gunn's script for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 when that movie goes into production. So, he got asked about that during the press tour for Captain Marvel. And he also said that according to him, the reports that James Gunn was a major architect in all things cosmic MCU were blown out of proportion. That sounds like somebody who's angry about something, but
Yeah.
he says his influence was Guardians. It was his input on Guardians and the Avengers films, as you've seen in Infinity War, and on the Guardians 3 script, which we're still using. So you'll see that influence, I think, online. Sort of the notion the notion online was architect across multiple cosmic things was slightly blown out of proportion. In reference to the script, he said the trilogy capping script was, quote, something to cry over. He said, if I had somehow talked to two separated people who somehow read James Gunn's Guardian 3 script and both told me it made them cry, I probably wouldn't have to say any more. So, as we all know, James Gunn is done at Marvel and is headed over to write and direct Suicide Squad for DC. So, which is awesome.
Is it gonna be like a retcon Suicide Squad, or is it gonna be like a continuation?
We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know just yet. Indications are that, like, Harley will not be there. That they will bring in a lot of new characters, but I also, because it'll depend on what he ends up wanting to do, but there is no telling.
Do you think that with Harley not being there, that runs the risk of kind of ending that franchise?
Nah.
Okay.
No, I think Guardians is that's not Guardian. I think Suicide Squad is the Guardians of DC. You can
Right.
bring in people. I still think you need to do something with, like, Deadshot. I think that
Yeah,
Oh,
needs
for
to
that's
sure.
someone
happen.
Yeah,
anchored.
absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody who showed up in the original Suicide Squad was Batman. And so there's been a lot of discussion about who's playing Batman. Kevin Smith is on the record as saying Armie Hammer and John Hamm are his top two picks. Depends on the story. So Armie Hammer was in the Lone Ranger movie that 7 people saw.
He was also in that
Johnny Depp was 5 of them.
that one movie, Man Called Uncle.
Yes,
He was-
yes, he
He
was.
was very good in
He
that.
was Social Network as well.
Yeah, he played the Winklevoss twins.
Oh yeah.
This is the one him to be known for.
Yeah.
Lone
Man,
Ranger.
Man from Uncle, was that Armie Hammer?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Armie Hammer and
Henry
Henry Cavill.
Okay. And so he says he was a lovely dude who I've interviewed a few times up at Sundance for IMDb. I hope it's him. Man, does he look like Bruce Wayne, and boy, does he have a Bruce Wayne Batman voice. He said, never mind all this voice hiding stuff. I'm going to talk like this. He's got a naturally deep voice. For him, I think it'd be a great choice. John Hamm, I think, would be an amazing choice. Those are my top 2 picks. It says, depends on which Batman you're doing. If you're doing Dark Knight Returns Batman or the old Batman, then you look at someone like maybe John Hamm. So,
Okay. Not bad.
also, yeah, because it depends on what age.
Yeah.
until the story is until the script is kind of locked. We don't really know. All this stuff came out this week, basically, that Armie Hammer was in advanced talks to play Batman, and Armie Hammer had to personally come out and say nobody's ever asked him about the role. He said, "Let me say this. No one who can actually give me the job has asked me if I'm interested. I don't even know if they're done. I think they're still working on a script. I don't think that they are close to production, but I can conclusively tell you that no one has checked my availability, which is a bummer." Some of the reports out of the studio say they're looking for a, quote, late 20-something actor to star as Bruce Wayne, who isn't a, quote, straight-up rookie superhero, but is not yet the expert, undefeatable crime fighter of Batman at his peak.
So year one.
The year one-ish story, yeah.
He's also going to be in Death on the Nile, which comes out next year.
Okay.
That's,
Is that
like an Anaconda movie?
That's a... I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but Hercule Poirot.
Oh, yeah, it's the
Murder on the
Orient
Orient
Express
Yeah.
story, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And
Is he gonna be
Wonder
Poirot?
Woman's in it, too.
Oh, is she?
Yep.
Speaking of Star Wars, because we really haven't had much Star Wars in a while. They've wrapped episode 9, but in more important news, apparently lightsaber fencing is now like an official sport in France.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool because I know that there are a lot of people here that do the, like in Oklahoma, that do the Oklahoma lightsaber competitions and stuff. However, they come back pretty beat up, even with the padding. To be
Oh, I
honest.
bet, yeah.
Sam and I should have entered this.
You guys hurt yourselves the one time you did it.
Yeah. But if we'd known there was money to be won,
That's true.
we could have kept going.
Yeah.
We could have gone far.
The Fencing Federation in France has officially recognized lightsaber dueling as a competitive sport, basically giving it the same status as any other type of fencing.
Mm-hmm. Like the Olympic style
yeah,
sport.
Exactly. So
I'm curious, what do they actually use?
They use competitive lightsabers like
yeah.
this that have the reinforced blades.
that you can't.
That
Yeah.
would-
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, I'm sure they're probably a little bit higher end than that, but I mean, it's essentially the same concept because that's a. Didn't you say that was a battle blade? Like you're
I
supposed to be
can't.
able to hit it or
I
something?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So they had a. They had basically a small competition in France, but it looks like, since it is, it's now an officially recognized sport, that would be it. It is only a matter of time. I know that at the what was that called? T-Pop Expo.
did they have a lightsaber duel?
One of the Tulsa fencing schools had a booth to talk about fencing and lightsabers and stuff like that. So
If you think about it from a standpoint of trying to kind of like reenact your childhood, at least my childhood, I that is right up my alley. Do I want to get cracked in the head with something hard? Not at all. But I would.
Yeah.
It would be worth it.
The exercise would be good.
Well, for sure. You saying I need to work out?
No, I meant in
okay.
general. Like, there's more.
I
perks.
totally just baited you right into that. Okay, like
It's like-
I'm just messing with you, because I do. But anyway, yeah, I just think it looks awesome. I don't know. I've watched some of them and like some of the exhibition guys that do it.
yeah.
It's super impressive.
The thing is, it's there's absolutely nothing against fencing because that's an incredible skill, but
Oh,
lightsaber
absolutely.
stuff is way more visual.
Right,
Yeah,
right, because you've got something that's lit up. and moving
exactly.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So do the ones that they use make the sound effects, or do they just have to be?
I don't care if they do or not. If I'm that guy, I'm making the sound effects.
Well,
I would be too if it doesn't already.
Yeah.
And that's
I'd have
that's
to.
something I don't know because I've seen them where they do,
Yeah,
and then I've seen them where they don't. But the problem is, on the lightsabers like this that make the sound now, they have to engage a switch to make it sound like it's crashing. You'd have to basically take the accelerometer out of a toy to make it crash. So I don't know.
yeah. Well, there was I think it was Ewan McGregor was on. I think he was on Graham Norton, and they were talking about lightsabers and stuff like that. And he's still very good at it, actually. And they were literally talking about the fact that when they first were doing the fights and stuff like that, that they could not help but make the sounds.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and to the point
Because
that
they
the
just have
director's like,
that-
you have to stop because you're fighting. You're going, so your mouth is emoting what the sounds are.
But theirs don't. light up. They have like that. It's like a green screen.
It's
but
a stick, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like,
So-
you're fighting with a stick like you were with a kid. So what you do when you're with a kid, you make the sounds.
100%.
So,
Duh.
yeah. That's the... Chris Toole says breakdancing. There should be... Josh had said next step, breakdancing will be in the Olympics.
It really well, they're thinking about it.
And Chris says breakdancing. There should be... Yeah, breakdancing.
Breakdancing 100% should be in the Olympics. There's no reason that you can do gymnastics and not breakdancing.
That's true.
Because it's the same level of practice, same level of skill, because the people that you're seeing at that level, like Rocksteady Crew, like those guys are beyond anything else that you can see. And they're impressive. So, yeah, they absolutely need to be in the
I think
Olympics.
even regular dancing could be. Like, professional dancers are very, very, very fit. And
The problem
they're
becomes that
athletes. They're
some
very
of that
athletic.
stuff is so country-centric.
that's true.
So, like, Taekwondo and Judo are both in the Olympics. And if I'm not watching it on the internet, I can't see it because it's not played here anyway. Or if it is played, it's played at like 3 a.m. Well, who's up at 3 a.m. watching that? Not me. And even sometimes when they say they're showing it and you record it, it's like figure skating. It's like, man, done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think you have to open it up for sure. I don't know. Breakdancing, that's a good point. I think it definitely needs to be in.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, there's always the sports, the sports that kind of go in and out of the Olympics. Like, nobody cares about X. We're going to take that out, and we're going to put something like back in. Like softball was out for a while.
Yeah.
You know, all that other stuff. What I want to see in the Winter Olympics is that, have you seen that?
That's where I want to see breakdancing.
I want to see breakdancing on the ice.
Oh, nice.
But
figure
Put the
skating.
break into the dance.
I think it's Jared Allen from Vikings, stuff like that.
Vikings,
He started a curling team with the sole purpose of making the Winter Olympics. So it's him and 3 or 4 other retired NFL players.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, my
professional
favorite
curling team.
Olympic sport is curling. 100% male, female, co-ed, love it all.
Yeah. It's
I
crazy.
could sit there and watch it
that's your
all day long.
favorite?
That is my favorite winter Olympic sport.
What about skeleton?
Nope.
Skeleton's dope. It's crazy.
Oh, it's cool. No. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I don't like it. I'm
Those
just
people
saying
are-
my favorite. If I had to choose between that and curling, I'm watching curling.
Yeah, I can't explain it, but it's riveting
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah, I'm watching curling. But yes, no, skeleton's absolutely bananas because you're going head first at 80 miles an hour down a chute.
With a
It's
cool
crazy.
looking helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like hardly any protection.
Oh,
Right. I mean, like your
A
helmet,
helmet.
A helmet.
and your suit
That'll do it.
for
that
your-
suit.
Your suit for sliding.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's-
No, I think it's I mean, I like all the like the jumps and the snowboard.
Is Winter
and all
Olympics
that,
is
but
that what's next, or is it Summer Olympics next year? I don't even. I'm totally out of.
I think it's
22. It'd probably be 22. It'd be 2020.
I think
Is it
it's
summer
winter.
or winter?
I think it's winter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Short
And that's
tracks-
something else that they did that is confusing now. Is like every 2 years there's the Olympics,
Yeah.
which is nice, but it's just kind of
Short track speed skating is
it's pretty cool too.
cool. And,
yeah,
I mean, it's madness.
to me that's on the level of like bike track racing.
Yeah.
In terms of just the skill and the technique of what they're doing.
And there's
It's amazing.
and there's so much that you don't control. Like, how many times have you seen somebody slide out and wipe out everybody, and the guy in last place is like,
Yeah. The guy that was like totally gassed
Those
for
are
the
the
whole
open
race.
sports.
Speed skating
Yeah.
all the time.
yeah.
But the thing is like their
the
skates are
best.
so long.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so cool.
2020 is summer.
Okay.
2020 is summer.
Nice.
Okay.
Is that what Apollo did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in Tokyo.
Crystal says rock climbing is going to be featured in 2020 Olympics. Interesting.
Really?
Like what kind of rock climbing?
Like, you say rock climbing in the Olympics, and I immediately go to American Gladiators.
The wall.
The wall.
The wall.
Okay.
How fast
Okay.
can you get to the top?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I go.
Well, and you have to figure that's probably
Hey,
some
Chris, by the way.
component of it.
No.
Hey,
Are you
Kate.
going to be in it?
By the way, too.
Is he a rock climber?
Oh man, this dude is like, if you put all of our best athletic traits, which is basically the 3 of you together,
So none.
Chris dwarfs us.
Nice.
Yeah, this guy is like, he has more strength in his fingers than I have in my entire body,
Nice.
and that's not an exaggeration. Dude can just hang from the side of a cliff face. He's good.
See,
I just wonder what kind of climbing it would be, because that'd be pretty rad to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be free climb or whatever. It seems like it seems like a lot of liability.
I don't think they would
climb.
allow free climb. Like, you'd have to have some sort of a harness, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, like, what
things happen.
Yeah.
Especially
What if they climb at the same time, like in speed skating?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, truthfully,
It's
though,
a
if you
race.
think about it, that could be what it is. You know, you're racing to the top, and the sides that you're on are similar, and
Yeah, they'd have to be identical to be
You know.
fair. It'd almost have to be a point A to point Z time thing. And like you said, things happen. And when there's a clock, you might take a little
you
risk.
take a misstep.
You might take a risk and whatever. And so you might have to, somebody might pull a Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2. You'd never know.
Well, I think that they would have to figure out, like, as far as a point system, like, if you mess up, there has to be some sort of deduction.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like diving and there's different rounds, or because that way you can screw up one. And I don't know.
Okay.
Basically, they take you up to the Burj Khalifa, and
Chris.
Mission Impossible.
Hey,
Sport climbing.
Hey,
Harness,
Chris, I want
harness and quick draws.
to be specific here. Thank you for fact checking that. They are not Japanese. They are Mongolian. I was not fact checking my story there. So, yeah, thank you.
Nice. That's interesting. Yeah. All right. I mean, I will absolutely watch some climbing in the Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's cool. I didn't know that was going to be in there.
that is awesome.
Yeah, Josh, death is an automatic disqualification.
Yeah.
Next up, fishing.
Is
Get
fishing
fishing
not
in
an
there.
Olympic sport?
Fishing's not an Olympic
I
sport.
feel like
no.
that should be a summer Olympic.
I agree.
I agree,
What's that? Fishing?
Fishing?
but it's not.
Maybe the next time it comes to that when are we hosting
Ooh.
next?
Noodling.
Noodling, dude.
No.
I know
Noodling.
some people who
No.
would win, like right
That is
now.
very specific. like, southern.
Exactly.
Midwest.
It doesn't mean that you can't
But
learn
there
the
you
skill,
go.
though.
There you
Well,
go.
no, I'm saying, but as far as, like, because we were talking about,
Be like the dream team of the South. You know what I mean?
like, only certain areas would play certain sports. I don't see anyone caring about that except for,
I think that would be one of those things about
Unless-
America that fascinates
unless
the world.
this is
I
our
agree.
curling.
I think we would start the entire noodling industry somewhere else. They would watch it on the Olympics, and things would spring up everywhere. Noodling would become huge in Russia.
So, like, curling. And they're just
Yeah,
like, we don't
yeah,
know why we like
yeah.
this, but we can't stop
Except
watching
instead
it.
of
Yeah.
sliding a rock down the ice and brushing,
You're
and all
shoving
that,
your arm in
you're
a
shoving your arm in a fish
hole.
and grabbing it.
Yeah.
And if your arm gets taken off, that
Then
is
you're
also
disqualified.
immediate disqualification.
Exactly.
And randomly, a hole might have an anaconda in it,
Yeah.
or a shark, or
That's a
Well-
3-point deduction if it's not an actual fish.
so. To me, it's
or a shark.
I don't know, man. I'm just throwing
Are
things
these
out there that can eat
manufactured
you.
holes that they're making, and they're just saying, okay, you have to pick one, and hopefully it's a fish?
Well, but you
I'm-
could
see,
have a
'cause
snake
I
in
would
there.
watch that.
I go
You
to
could.
that
Just
point.
saying,
I go
like-
double dare at that point. Where, like when you're like doing like
I'm
you know,
thinking
it's
fear
all
factor.
random fear factor. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, cottonmouths, like water moccasins.
Cottonmouth?
There was a Chris says there may be bouldering, which is no harness or rope, but the height is usually limited to 30 feet. Even then, I don't want to fall from 30 feet, and I totally would. There was a terrifying video or a GIF or something on Reddit of a water moccasin that was stuck on top of ice trying to slither.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
That
right?
was frightening. Like, yeah.
It was frozen in ice. It couldn't move, but it was trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, and I'm just like, yeah. And then of course, because it's Reddit, you go into the comments, there's all these stories
Of the same thing.
about like, I was walking whatever, and something like how the people are like, oh, they're not aggressive. They're like,
Oh, yeah,
oh,
they
yeah, they
are.
are.
Oh, there was a guy in Stigler that was mowing his lawn.
Yeah.
Like had a riding lawnmower, ran over a water moccasin, bent down to get it, thinking it was dead, and it still bit him.
Yeah.
Don't bend down to get it.
Well, people are saying
And the babies are even more poisonous.
that they get that if you encounter like a water moccasin or something like that
Prey.
while they look like they are chasing you, basically if the only gap that they can see to get away from you is in between your legs, they're going to come right at you. Basically they try and get away, but it looks like they're aggressive.
They do, for the most part, they'll try and get away.
Yeah.
I encountered them. Shanna's watching this, so not that
often.
I don't see them hardly
Videos.
ever when I'm fishing. But
I should post that picture of the rat snake that I had on my front porch that day. That
Okay, I may try and pick. I might have tried to pick him up.
The rat snake or
Was
the
he a hognose?
moccasin?
I wouldn't have. You wouldn't have picked him up. He was. I posted this on my Facebook, but I may not have posted it on the thing. So there is. I come home one day, and pull into the garage, going out to the mailbox or whatever, and I live next to a model house, and so there's people going in and out of the model house all the time. And there's two people coming out.
Models, right.
They said, "Hey, did you get your snake? It was sunning on the curb." So apparently they parked sort of by my house, went to get out of the car, and it was sunning on the curb. Now here's the thing: this is not a small snake. This snake is all of 5 feet. Like, it's big. And I said, "No, don't have one." And he points at my porch, and dude is hanging out on my porch. I'm like, oh boy, this is great. You get close to it. Now, what they typically do is they mimic other snakes, like other behaviors. So you get close to it, it starts shaking its tail like a rattlesnake. They never rattle, but it does that. You get even closer,
It doesn't have a rattle.
No,
it's
but
shaking your tail.
It's shaking its tail.
And you can just go, dude, you don't have a rattle.
Yeah, I mean, it might identify as a rattlesnake. I don't know. So, but you get even closer to it, and it will stand up like a cobra. And the dude stood up. I'm just like, yeah, no. So
That's a talented snake.
he was very angry.
It's
And
amazing what non-poisonous snakes
Yeah.
do to protect themselves.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I
And
get
so the guy
Yeah,
who,
pop up.
oh,
They're crazy.
They gotta.
Yeah, I mean, my dog, like, shortly after he did that, or maybe
Yeah.
even before, my dog caught a huge king snake. King snakes are not harmful to humans.
Yeah.
They're actually good to have around because they eat other snakes and whatever else. But it had curled up against my house in the middle of the day, and I walked out there, he saw the snake and started going after it, ripped the thing in two, but it reared up and was striking at him and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty crazy. They even put off an odor. Did the one that you have?
I wasn't
that?
paying attention to what was smelling at that point.
Well, because most poisonous snakes stink.
Did it
Like,
stay
they
with
put off
you
an
when you
odor
went
to
away?
protect themselves. And this one did.
No, so luckily, the guy who was in the model house, he lives on a bunch of land. He came over, he's like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what that is." So we went.
Look like that.
No. So we went and got because I've got Amazon boxes everywhere. We got an Amazon box in the home. Basically, got it coiled around the thing and put it in the Amazon box. And the whole time it's hissing, it's doing whatever it's going to do. Snake was not the smartest. Once we get it in the box, that's when it starts trying to bite the box. You can hear it inside. It's going thunk, thunk, thunk against the box.
Trying to get out.
Trying to whatever. And so we just there's a kind of a big green area back behind where I live, so we just took it back there and tossed the box out there. And so, but that was a very interesting stuff.
So
Chris says the snake flaying between the legs actually happened one of the times I went fishing with someone. We won't mention any names.
I feel like I might know this name.
Yeah, that did.
Nice.
That did. You just
Are you sure he didn't plant it?
No.
How long have you known?
no,
Church?
because it was closer to me.
Okay.
It was. It's one of those situations where you don't move, but you be prepared to.
Yeah.
And
I would still move.
there was a time also last year where we went fishing in this pond close to downtown Broken Arrow, and I caught a bass. I leaned down to release it, and as I put my hand down there and put it back in the water, I just kind of glanced over to the side, and there was a moccasin literally maybe about, 10 inches?
Yeah.
Sunning himself, but his head was looking right at my hand like,
Hmm.
and I just went,
Yep.
very slowly moved back. He didn't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all around. All around.
Yeah, the day I found out that they'll
Can't
fall
wait
out of
to go
trees.
kayaking. Yes, they will.
I was like, I don't think I want to go to lakes anymore.
They're all
I'm not going
clumsy.
anywhere.
They don't have any hands.
But
That's
can we all
We can't
agree
really
that most sports require shoes that don't explode?
We can.
Yes, and especially in games
That's what
like
he looked like.
basketball.
That's exactly what he looked like on the front porch with fangs.
Aw, he's
Especially in
trying to
basketball.
So this is the crazy part. Everyone gets probably heard this story about Zion Williamson. Going to be the number one NBA pick, no doubt. Plays for Duke. 36 seconds into a game whose ticket prices were rivaling the Super Bowl.
Yeah, $1,500.
$1,500, $2,500, $3,000 a ticket. 36 seconds in, he goes to pivot, and his shoe just comes apart. And he sprains his knee, so he's out for the game. So the shoes he's wearing were Paul George Nikes. The thing I find very interesting about this is in pre-trading before that opened the next day, the Nike stock had dropped like 1.7%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in Nike's total market cap value, that's $3 billion.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of it rebounded after the fact.
Sure.
But
They played damage control for a couple days.
yeah. And everyone's tweeting at Paul George, like, why do your shoes fall apart? He's like, I didn't make them. Like,
Yeah.
but that just goes to show you that much focus on one person and what they're wearing. You know, people always talk about, oh, you know, why does Under Armour pay Steph Curry $30 million a year, something like that? That's why.
Well, and on the flip side of that, they're the exclusive provider for uniforms and shoes for Duke.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
you know, that brings into question, like, well, if you're supplying these schools and you're not giving them products, then why are we paying you so much money to do that?
Now, and to be fair, Zion Williamson is a large individual. He's not, he's bigger than normal. And when you get to the pro ranks, custom shoes to support a larger frame, larger person are not uncommon. I was reading a story that they had to, in college, they had to do like a custom size 25.
For Shaq?
Not for Shaq. It wasn't for Shaq. It was for somebody, but Shaq is very similar. That they have to be able to do. Is that the shoe?
That's a shoe.
Yeah.
What's crazy
Just
about it is
ripped off the base.
Well, what's crazy about it is his foot came out through the sole, right? And like by the time he stops moving, the shoe is all the way up by his left knee.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even by his foot in any way.
Yeah, it just came apart.
It just, it's just nuts.
And
that's hard to watch because then he grabs the other knee.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of,
Could it have been
that was hard to watch.
with?
I mean,
Someone
it could have been, but I
and then
don't
the rest
know.
Of it does.
You think
I
a
don't
Tar Heel
think it
got
is,
into the
but
locker room?
I don't, I mean,
Tom Brady.
Maybe a snake did.
maybe
So.
a snake.
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean,
Snakes are
you know, I don't
Did
know.
you hear
It's
that Nike fired the 8-year-old that made the shoe?
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
So wrong.
So, but the one thing that a lot of people, some people don't realize is, like, when you at the pro level, like, you might some players change shoes every game. Like, it's a brand new pair of shoes every game. Some may wear them for 2 or 3 games. At the college level, that's not the case. Given his size and his power,
He probably wears it out.
he probably just straight wore it out.
I'm just surprised that all
I'm going to
through
blame
high
the snake. You're covering your mic.
I'm surprised that all through high school that never happened because I mean I can't imagine that.
Like to you?
Huh?
Like to you?
To you? What are you talking about?
During
To
high school?
you.
When
To
he?
you.
Oh no! When he was in high school. Sorry.
Not Tulsa University.
When Zion was in high school, because I've known about him for a while now.
Yeah.
He's kind of in that same group with the Ball brothers, you know.
Yeah.
And so I would follow
his-
something like
his,
Nike, or I would follow a
Dunk videos
basketball
have been
player.
making the rounds on YouTube for
Right.
about 3 years.
And
Yeah.
even when he was in high school, they were making rounds, and so
Yeah.
it just shocks me that we get to the collegiate level, and that's what happens. But in high school.
Well,
And maybe he put on some mass and
it may have happened in high school, but he wasn't like going to be the number 1 NBA pick when he was in high school. Nobody really knew. Like, I don't know.
but they were pumping him up.
Yeah,
seriously.
I
mean,
of course, this is probably the most watched college basketball game of the year.
but I mean, the player himself since high school has been has been hyped up.
Yeah.
Just like what is it, LaMelo Ball? Is that the youngest one?
One of the
Whatever the youngest one is.
Yeah.
That just like him, same kind of deal. So
so here's the big debate now has been, okay, you sprained your knee mildly, you dodged a bullet. Do you shut it down for the rest of the year, or do you go for
and just go into the draft,
or do you try and get Duke a championship?
No, I if I'm him, he's going to the NBA. He's clearly going to be the number 1 pick. If I'm him, he's not really that committed. He's doing this because he has to do a one
and done.
So,
and that's probably going to go away in the next couple of years. But
yes, it is.
Don't say that to Stephen A. Smith, man. He went off the rails when Max Kellerman said that he shouldn't do it anymore. And the thing is, like, a lot of times for people like him, a consensus number 1 pick, he's insured. He has an insurance policy. If something happens during this year, that he will get paid out, whatever. I see both sides. Like, you shut it down because you don't want to hurt yourself. But also, like, let's face it, Duke is not a championship contending team without him.
I think when you look
That
at
one
it,
game, they didn't look very good, but they have a lot of talent.
But their whole game revolves around him. They'd have to change their entire offensive strategy.
It does, but with K, they have enough talent.
Yeah.
And they have the talent and the coaching. They have the
Coach
brains
K,
and the coaching. I could see them doing it. I could never count Duke out, especially with all the 5-stars they have.
Yeah. Josh says he
Right.
gets $8 million if he drops below 16 in the draft.
If he drops below 16, if he's drafted 17th, he gets
$8 million insurance.
That's wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. He won't.
No, he won't.
even if his knee is still a concern, someone's going to take a shot.
Yeah.
well, I think the downside for him,
How's that thing?
I think the downside for him is truly the fact that people know who he is. People want him in the NBA, and he's at a point where people are making money off of him, and he's sacrificing his body. And
That's the biggest.
that's always been the NCAA issue.
Yep.
But when you talk about college basketball, and granted, it's North Carolina and Duke, I get it. But you're talking about ticket prices being what they are.
Yeah.
And you have a young person who is very skilled and could go to the NBA and could, potentially make millions.
She's typing with purpose, so I'm hearing that.
No, I could hear it.
Yeah.
And he's just, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we expect too much from college kids not making any money for putting themselves at risk.
I agree.
And I don't know that that's wrong that they shouldn't make money. Like I think I agree with the fact that if you're an amateur athlete, you shouldn't really get paid. But how do we expect him to want to damage the potential draft stock that he has for sacrificing the one and done? Yeah, I don't know.
The one and done gets rid of that problem. I mean, getting rid of one and done gets rid of that.
But we had that before when we were kids.
Yeah.
You could go straight out of high school. Sean Kemp did. Chris Webber did. No, Chris Webber went to Michigan.
Kevin Garnett.
Huh?
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett. Thank you. And
Kobe.
yeah, it's another example.
And that's the thing. Those are the types of players.
That LeBron guy did too, I think.
Those are the types of players.
He was good for a while.
Those are the types of players
That's right.
that, like you said, are generational type players that can go to the NBA and compete. There are players who need to go to college to develop their game to play at the NBA level. Then there's people who can just play at that level. And so there's serious concessions. Like I said, I think the one and done will be done within 2 years. I think they'll get rid of it, mainly because of the NCAA
draft stock.
the draft and the NCAA problem. Like you said, he's this superstar basketball player that the NCAA is making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars just on him.
The university by itself is also making money.
And he's not getting a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he gets money, but it's Mike.
Yeah.
It's like bare minimum everything.
Yeah. But if some booster or whatever buys him a dinner,
then he's done.
Then he's done.
Can't play.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Chris says, I feel like collegiate athletes have a lottery ticket they're looking to cash. While team loyalty is a factor, these kids have a tremendous opportunity and need to look after themselves.
Well, and let's look at it this way. Travel basketball has really destroyed the team aspect of college sports because these kids go from team to team to team in AAU, and they're traveling all over the United States, and then they have to be in a place for a year. That loyalty, while the team aspect of the sport may be there, they're ready to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I think the downside to eliminating the one and done, not that a 19 or 20-year-old's better equipped to handle all the pressures of being a pro, but I don't know that an 18-year-old is either. I mean, you start throwing millions of dollars at an 18-year-old. It didn't go so well for some people back in the day. I don't know if it's going to go so well now.
Yeah, there needs to be some level of, and the NFL has done a lot with this, has been for the young players coming and stuff like that, a lot of mentoring, especially around finances, stuff like that, because the percentage of NFL or professional athletes that are broke, basically, the number would astound you. It
really wouldn't because of just financial planning and understanding that while at 18 you're making, I don't know, just throwing a number, $9 million a year, At age 30, you might not be making that kind of money.
Exactly.
And as you age, your game has to change.
Yep.
So if you're not,
I mean, the average life in the NFL, the average player span in the NFL is 3 years.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's the outliers, but it's 3 years. Especially if you're like a running back or something like that. So when you get, linebacker, so when he gets hit a lot, it's pretty short. And so if you make all that money and you're 20 years old and whatever,
you're buying a Bugatti. And
exactly.
houses. Yeah.
And then when you're done, you're done. Like that's the thing. So
I mean, you look at like Kobe Bryant and how long his career was. I mean, that says something. But then also you look at the evolution of how he played basketball for that long.
Yeah.
He stopped going, inside and trying to charge the paint and started playing more exterior. And so all of those things add to longevity. It's just like Floyd Mayweather has come out recently and said,
Andy Myers says Nick is my hero.
Mine too,
Andy. Thanks, Andy. Hearts. That was probably a really ugly heart. But like Floyd Mayweather's come out and said that, the less punishment you can take, the longer you can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to that, and I think that applies to football. I think it applies to basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball, I think, is kind of the outlier because that's one of those things that you're less likely to take an impact if you're not a base player. Like if you're a pitcher.
Baseball is wear and tear. It's not impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's longevity of season too. I mean,
so
they're the only sport that plays like 100 and something. What is it? 160
games a year.
Yeah.
162. That was an ugly heart.
Sorry.
I just noticed it. It was
Here we go. Is that better?
Love isn't always pretty, guys.
Love is hard.
Yeah.
We just have to appreciate what we get.
He's loving the best way he knows
Love
how.
stinks. Sometimes it does.
Nice.
Depends on, where you're at, but yeah, sometimes it does.
I want to make a joke, but I'm not gonna.
I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna go into the restroom, sometimes those stinks. I don't know. I mean,
all right, let's finish this up with
like you walk in after somebody, it might stink. I don't know.
Let's finish this up with a little bit of gaming. There is a new study out of Oxford University says that there is no link between video games and violence. So there's that.
Do you find the reason I put that in there is because it's always been, since as long as we've been alive, that's been the argument.
Oh yeah, since Columbine, that has been the argument.
Right. And I don't know. Reading the article, because I was like, really? I mean, how do you contradict all of the research that's been done? And there turns out there really hasn't been much research done.
It's been conjecture more than anything.
Yeah. The downside is their sample size is relatively small.
It's 2,000 people.
Yeah. So I mean, to be a representative sample for global areas, that's insignificant. But I looked at it and I read it and I thought, well, I mean, I can kind of see that because I didn't necessarily agree with it at 18. I don't necessarily agree with it now.
Yeah.
But at the same rate, predisposition to being exposed to things does change your thought processes. Maybe doesn't contribute to acts of violence.
Yeah.
But if I'm watching something violent over and over again, I become immune to the knee-jerk reaction of it.
Oh, yeah.
Desensitizing.
Right. And so with that in mind, would that not then affect decision-making skills?
Yeah.
In a roundabout way?
I mean, you look at in that same line of thinking, you look at like the desensitization thing is like, you look at something like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You watch Walking Dead, stuff like that, whatever. You could walk up on something entirely gruesome and be nothing. Like, I've done it. It is both unnerving and both calming at the same time. Like, it doesn't, you just don't, like, okay. Like, it just doesn't affect you. But it's to the same part of that though. If you are constantly playing Fortnite or something like that, and you're constantly raging and constantly whatever and all that other stuff, all that stuff, eventually that has to chemically change you, like in terms of in your brain. So, so the rule is get better at video games, and you'll be fine.
Or what if?
I don't think it's that simple, but yeah.
What if you're angry, but you can use those video games as like a way to pinpoint it? I mean, not pinpoint it.
To let it out.
Let it out. Yeah.
I here's the thing.
Boxing.
If I'm having a really crappy day, like I want to throw on the Xbox and I want to do some stuff, and I want to shoot some aliens or whatever. Like
I think it's important that you play something that you can manage, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you jump on and play
Dark Souls 3, no.
Yeah.
Well,
like for instance, I was playing some Call of Duty last night, and I was having terrible games, and I was getting upset. But then I had an amazing game.
All the upset is gone.
Oh
You're like,
yeah, it's gone. But if I'm someone who has anger problems,
yeah.
I don't want to get on Call of Duty and play 2 bad games in a row and
Yeah.
have a controller go through a window or into the TV.
Yeah. Lynn suffers from Tetris rage.
I've
Well-
seen him suffer from Tetris rage.
and I think
His anger.
I think the significance of this study really falls
Thunder
more
God.
on the fact of recognizing gaming as a release. Because when you talk about like UFC fighters or boxers, you don't hear about them just flying off the handle at somebody. Like they're usually a fairly calm person. They found a way to channel their inner stress and struggles, and they're usually probably some of the nicer people that you meet. Not all of them, but
Except for Connor.
well,
Yeah.
and that's an example of kind of an outlier
That's the one
to
that
the
gets the
general.
attention.
Well,
though.
Right.
But when
I know.
But when the cork does pop, like
It pops.
It pops big for fighters. So like I said,
Right.
like Connor and stuff like that. It's the but no, you bring up a very valid
Mm-hmm.
point. If you have to know how to channel and deal with anger and emotion and stuff
Well,
like
I
that.
would think with fighting that would be even more so because you then know what you're capable of.
Right.
So I
right.
think you would want to be more in control. to
Yeah,
not
and I guess where I'm kind of leaning with that is, as adults, we have mostly the ability to make the decision to either turn off the game if we're getting mad, like it's just not worth it, or even just learn. We've learned enough social skills to be able to kind of compartmentalize those feelings at times, right? I guess where my concern would be, because these were teenagers, so they're in that weird state of flux that everybody goes through in teenage years. Are we concerned about younger kids playing violent video games? You see, I don't really know if I'm making my point.
I think it'd be the same as with like movies, like
Right. I
certain
mean, I have
ages.
students that watch like really horrible movies in terms of horror and gore, and they act like it's nothing. But I don't know. I struggle with that as a parent, but also
That
as someone
line
that
has
works with a
moved
kid.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In Chris mentioned, like we talked about too, like video games have been tied to things like school shootings because that is the thing that when those people were apprehended or something like that, it's like, oh, they played video games. Like part of this, I'm sure there is science behind it, but part of this is also media. This is they played video games.
easy
They
excuse.
list. It's the same thing.
It's easy for them to
They
do.
need
And
to focus on the mental health and
there
less
are
on the
more.
video games.
that-
When it comes
yes.
Bingo.
to
And there's more shootings happening
Yeah.
on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis now
Yep.
than there ever has been. And they keep saying, oh, they're a gamer. They were a gamer. And they're
Yeah.
using this because, 4 out of 5 of them are gamers. But honestly,
everyone is gamers.
who the hell isn't now?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think
it's
it's
that
human
age.
nature though, when you can't understand something, to find
That is true. You want to
the
find
most logical
a
thing that
blank.
makes
Yeah.
sense to deal with. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
No.
I mean, that's just that
you're
makes the most
absolutely
sense.
Right there.
And that's the easiest, and that's probably means that it's the less they have to do to fix it.
But
because they
exactly.
can easily
It's a lot
point to
less
that.
work.
The thing about this,
It
this
just
is
goes gamer done.
video games is just the latest thing that gets blamed. I mean, go backwards. You have things like heavy metal music and Kiss, stuff like
Marilyn
that.
Manson.
Marilyn Manson. You go even further back with comic books and the comic book code. Like there for outliers of society, for people doing bad things. There is historical precedence that an outside influencer gets blamed for that. And like you said, not enough attention is being paid to the mental health aspect of it, because I think we're just now getting to a point in science and society and whatever that mental health is not the stigma it used to be. It is, I mean, some people still do, but it's not, and we understand it better in terms of that there are people who could have mental health issues who know, if they know how to manage it, are perfectly good people, productive members of society and whatever. Like there's and there's been so much put on in terms of, there's been so much more talk about mental health now that people understand what it is. Like, oh, I might suffer from anxiety, I might suffer from depression, I might suffer from other stuff. Like there's a lot more, I think, self-awareness, and it is where I feel like we're at now is at the point where people have to understand and be comfortable with asking for help and things like that is not a bad thing. Like, it used to have this huge stigma around it. Like, the thing is, like, because I've talked about it openly many times, whatever. See a therapist, deal with anxiety, all kinds of stuff. I have no problem talking
Well, with
about
a lot
it.
of people,
Yeah.
still does, though.
Well,
A lot of
yeah.
people refuse to believe that there is
We have
a
not
blossoming
Yeah.
mental health boon that is
Yeah.
going on.
Well, but
That
I
might be
think
generational,
to
too.
kind of further
It-
that point,
Yeah.
we've got generations of people in society that haven't been able to deal with the world they're brought into. And a lot of that comes from not just in mental health, because what we know about mental health is that some people are born with issues or chemical deficiencies.
Yep.
Other situations
They might.
create it, you
Yeah.
know, and so it's kind of you can't
Yep.
really just throw it all into like it's a mental health issue, because just because you might have a chemical imbalance doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do something violent. But as you see things change, we need to kind of be more aware of it, like you're saying, and
Yeah.
openly talk about it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, if you've got all of these predetermined factors, like we already have had, we've had these issues forever. The human being has had these problems forever. We're raising a bunch of young people and people to take over the world that unfortunately can't deal with the world that they're in. And I don't mean that to be ugly, like, oh, millennials, they stink. What I mean is, like, we have rescued people in a lot of ways when times get tough. We do it on social media. We do it in the news. You know,
Yeah.
look at what just happened with the actor who was jumped because he paid somebody to jump him.
Yeah.
Everybody ran to his rescue. Naturally, that is the first inclination that we have as a society. When it all comes out, now where do you stand on that? You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it wasn't what it was, and so we just have a lot of different problems that I think mental health is part of it. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even necessarily against a gun control situation that makes sense, but when we use, unfortunately, situations like video games, when that's
Yeah.
the scapegoat, we miss all the other stuff.
Yeah.
When a school shooting or mass violence situation occurs, and we focus on a narrative that is like gun control or no gun control, you can't have my
Yeah.
guns, taking your guns, you know, whatever, we miss the bigger context of what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely not as that was definitely a simplification. I think that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah,
And
and-
it's definitely multiple factors that go into it. But I think mental health is definitely a big part.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Being able to deal with the world that you're in is
Teaching-
part of mental health,
Yes.
but it's also a societal thing, whereas when we were kids, we were taught by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now we're expecting kids to come to school with no food, no shoes, no socks.
Yeah.
You know, home lives are horrible based
Yeah.
on various situations,
Yeah.
and we expect them to come ready to learn. But then we're also not teaching them social skills, because that's really what we need to be teaching them. And it's just,
skills
I don't know,
would've
it's
been
it's
fantastic
just
for
so
me.
multifaceted. I don't think you can
Yeah.
say one aspect is what it is. And this study just kind of brought all those thoughts to my head, and I thought, man, you know, that would be a good discussion. But
Yeah, Mike Adams, he says, mental health does carry stigma. So much research on depression or neuroscience and brain development with video games. Gaming with children needs to be monitored with adolescents.
sure.
I 100% agree. As kids are growing up, while the brain is developing, things like that, that's big.
well,
I
when
mean,
you look at it
that's-
from a
yeah.
dopamine dump,
Yeah.
that's a video game, that's an iPad, that's
Yeah.
digital. I mean, that's a constant stream of dopamine.
Yeah.
You can't regulate your emotions like that.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean, it's your brain doesn't develop the skills to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is, like you said, this is a conversation we've had multiple times talking about this kind of stuff, and it is definitely worth continuing. So obviously we appreciate everybody's input and stuff like that.
Just talk to your peeps,
Yep,
kids,
just talk to people
friends,
around you.
whatever.
Yeah, no,
Talk to people.
Yeah, that, like I said, if your 6-year-old's playing Fortnite, I don't really agree with that. Like, that's the, but that's the
so
thing.
many other better games they can play.
Exactly, like Crackdown.
Or maybe they
Tetris.
shouldn't be
Or
playing
Tetris.
games like that.
Yeah,
that
maybe
was
not
my main
Crackdown.
point, actually. I
But
should say
the
that.
Or shoots and ladders.
if you look at something too, I
Get
mean,
'em off
obviously
the
social
Fortnite.
media is a huge piece of this too. The constant positive or negative reinforcement that people receive on social media
Sure.
is definitely something that we never had to deal with. So,
Well, and that, I mean, I think that complicates things even further.
Yeah,
Truthfully.
that would even
know.
be a more of a reason to help them with like coping skills and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Too.
Right.
Mike says being able to cope in the world you're in and not deal with their world. So, one person who
I don't know who this Mike guy is, but I like him.
he's a
Dropping
smart
some
dude.
knowledge.
He is a collector and somebody we spent a lot of time with over at the SNS shop. Good dude. We like Mike.
Sounds good.
Mike,
so
do you have some experience in this field also?
I believe he
thought you
he
did.
does.
I think you do.
Yeah. He says many games today are bringing the social media piece to the gaming world. Yeah, no, I believe he does.
I was thinking he did.
He is an informed opinion for sure. Somebody who might have
Mike, just make sure you get on down to Harry's.
He's
Mike is a
therapist.
therapist, he says.
yeah, Mike, yeah, therapist. Somebody who might have rage quit on
Motec exhaust system.
on Apex Legends. So Apex Legends is this new battle royale game that is really kind of taking it to Fortnite. Like, there's a lot of people playing Apex Legends right now, which is great. I guess there's these heirloom level things that you can get, like these skins or weapons or whatever that's non-game impacting or whatever. And there, he has a master of psychology. So, I guess when you buy these loot boxes, you are guaranteed that if you go to 500 loot boxes, in one of those 500 loot boxes, you're going to get these heirloom items. Well, one player ended up spending $500 to go through 500 loot boxes to get the heirlooms items, and he basically said it wasn't worth it. He said,
Really?
Yep, he was talking about, other games like Overwatch and Rocket League, stuff like that. He's like, these games didn't tempt me into ludicrous spending. In the many hours of both games, I probably spent less than $30. But he ended up spending $500 on Apex Legends in order to find these heirloom items. He says, when a player opens an Apex pack, this is from the Apex Legends FAQ, when a player opens an Apex pack, there is a less than 1% probability of an heirloom set dropping. Heirloom sets do not deduct the Apex pack from your inventory. A player cannot open more than 500 Apex packs without receiving an heirloom set, assuming they don't own them all already. He said, once I bought my first bundle, my brain became wired in a way I wasn't going to stop until I got the heirlooms. So.
Well, I'm glad that he did that for us, so now we know.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
His brain became wired in a way.
I mean, here's the thing. This type of thing is no different than box breaks. It is no different than any of that stuff. There is
It's gambling.
It's gambling, and there is a dump. Like, one more. Like, there is. I mean, that's just what it is.
Even with like something simple like Candy Crush. If
Yeah.
you're wanting to like continue and you don't want to have to wait, so you just keep buying more stuff or buying whatever the specialty items are. You're like,
Yeah.
well, just one more.
What do you have to wait on
I
Candy
was
Crush?
about to say, Mike.
Time.
Yeah.
Like if you run out of your lives or whatever, and then
You
they
provided us with a
regenerate,
lot
but
of
you can
entertainment, though.
Just buy more.
Oh, but you just have to wait until it regenerates it all or whatever?
Yeah.
If you don't buy more?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never
Leave it
played
up
it, so I don't know.
I mean, I haven't played it in a while. I couldn't. I had
Gotcha.
to make myself stop because
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
was having some issues.
Gotcha.
There's a reason that I don't play World of Warcraft. Because, like, the reason I like Crackdown so much is it is basic in its is because it is basic in its
Are
simplicity.
we the Mighty Ducks in here?
You go, you fight bad guys, you level up your player, and like there's a linear time. So the completest part of my brain, like, loves a game like that.
Yes.
Like that, I'm just like, in one, it's Terry Crews. I mean, come on. But for something like a World of Warcraft or even Destiny to a point and something like that, like, it is very easy for my completist brain to be like, I want everything. Mm-hmm. And it is hard to turn that off sometimes. And so that's what something like this, like an Apex Legends thing, is like,
No, that's collecting.
that is collecting. And
That is why we want so many cards.
Yep. That's
be
why.
happy with
Here's the
them when we
thing.
get 'em.
That is also why I like art, because there's only one.
Absolutely.
Yep. So
Truthfully, that's why I like Funko Pops, because I can go,
Yes.
I don't want that one, but I want that
Yeah.
one. Oh,
Mike-
you don't have it? Okay, cool. I'll go find it somewhere else.
Oh,
Mike,
speaking
I'm
of
surprised.
Funko
Yeah,
Pops.
Mike says, I'm glad I found your podcast. I love it. I'm a nerd now. Mike, I thought you had been watching before. Well, you were more than
welcome.
You were already a nerd, Mike.
Yeah.
You can be a nerd about anything you have passion about. We know you had passion about cards.
Yeah.
So you were already a nerd.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame football, apparently.
That's
And-
true.
Well,
Have you
everyone
been
has their
stalking
faults.
him?
Yeah.
I just looked him up. Yeah, I was curious who our listener was. Yeah.
He's a
Mike's
good dude.
guy.
I don't know if I've ever met him. That's the problem. I think he might have been at the box break when I was at
I think he was
SNS,
there, yeah.
but I don't know that I ever talked to him. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's right, Mike. I like those one-of-ones.
Well,
So.
when you see him there, I mean, first off, he's very stealthy. He doesn't stand out, and he's
like a ninja.
He's very quiet when he's at the auctions.
He's like Sam.
Barely notice Mike.
None of what he
Quiet.
said is true.
Okay, that's what I was thinking because I don't believe church.
Yep. So
I made that mistake once.
Yep. Mike, we're glad to
ended
have
on a
you
boat.
on. So
It's very awkward.
we appreciate it. We appreciate your input on a topic that we could always use some professional input
Yep.
on too. So,
man.
yep.
It's like a wolf blowing outside your house.
A wolf?
Yep.
Is he
Is
gonna
it
blow the
windy?
house down?
Windy?
Hear that?
I hear it, but I wouldn't have
can't
thought
hear-
of a wolf.
I can't hear anything that's not in my headphones.
That's what opened his garage door.
The wolf.
Yeah, that's why Shannon was scared.
We haven't heard from Shannon in a while. Is Shannon still alive?
Oh yeah, I was supposed to tell you if you hear her scream, we're supposed to send you.
She's
down.
fine. She'll kill anyone who comes in. She's a shanther.
It's true.
Just get her
Wolf
I-
versus a shanther.
I pray for anyone that comes in and tries to mess with her while she's getting her work done,
Right.
because I have incurred that wrath
Nice.
this morning.
All right. Well, I think this is going to wrap up 116. It's been a
so.
good one. Mike, everybody,
Yeah.
Chris, everybody chiming in. This is what we like. We like people
Yeah.
chiming in. We make it a
It's
conversation.
not just the four of us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when everybody chimes in. So
We
thank you,
truly
everybody.
gathered this morning.
We really gathered this morning. That's very true. So we should be back next week with more shenanigans about stuff. Who knows what we'll talk about next week? Because like sometimes it's a slow news week, and then it's like then you have uranium in the Grand Canyon.
That's
So
just crazy. to me.
it's like
I sent that to the guy that I knew that was there. He hasn't responded
Mike,
yet.
his
so-
name is Nick.
yeah,
Oh,
Yes,
me?
but-
Yeah.
yeah.
Nick. Yeah.
He needs to know his stalker's name.
It's
Yeah.
all right.
yeah. So it's Cav, it's Church is in the orange above me. You've got Hannah, and then you've got Nick. So, all right, guys. Well, I guess I just said who everybody was, but this has been episode 116. What do we want to call this one?
Mike.
Mike?
Mike,
Mike,
check
Mike.
1212.
Yeah, we might just call it Be Like Mike.
I want to be like Mike.
We might need to have something about the uranium buckets.
That's true. Or
That
we
was-
just might call it
was
Uranium
pretty
Buckets. Hashtag Mike.
Hannah Smash.
Hannah Smash.
What if you
So
said,
Olympic
watch
rock
out,
climbing.
you're raining buckets, and made a pun?
Okay, well, okay, so
don't know.
here's, speaking of that, okay, so years ago when NBA Jam, the remaster came out, they had a contest of the phrases you say
Right.
to whenever you make buckets or whatever. They basically did like a 60, like a bracket or whatever. I made it to the top 16 with "You better bring an umbrella because it's raining buckets."
That's awesome.
And then I got beat by something else. But
En
so
fuego!
so
Do you guys remember on NBA Jam you could put in a code and you could play as P-Funk?
yeah,
So cool.
big head mode, all that
Yeah,
fun stuff.
yeah.
So, all right, 116. I don't uranium buckets. Who knows? I'm Cav. That's Nick.
See you guys.
Church.
Be kind, guys.
Hannah.
I'm not evil.
All right, see you guys. Bye bye.
It's questionable.
Sometimes.